First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good evening, everybody. We are continuing to track showers, heavy downpours, and even some thunderstorms across the First Coast this evening. I'm meteorologist Ross Mumma. Welcome in, whether you're watching on FCN Plus or YouTube or Facebook. Hopefully you managed through and stayed dry earlier this morning as the first round of heavy rain and thunderstorms, actually really severe weather. We did have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. As that rolled through earlier this morning, we had a little bit of a break midday and even into the early afternoon with just a few isolated showers and storms here or there. But this is really the start of what I'm calling kind of the second wave. And I think we could see really at least one, if not two more after this one yet. So zooming in here, giving you a closer look, the Swanee Valley and Okefenokee, who have already seen probably the heaviest rainfall from this morning's storms, are continuing to see a lot of heavy rain training over the same locations. So there is an area kind of right along I-10 just to the east of Tallahassee and west of Lake City. A flood warning is in effect there where a lot of these heavy storms are continuing to make their way through. Much of Columbia County, Baker County, southern Charlton seeing the worst and heaviest of the rain here right now, but it's starting to creep in toward Jacksonville and kind of the coastal area here of the First Coast, that I-95 corridor. So most of the action is pretty much right in and along I-10 and northward from there up across the Okefenokee and the Swanee Valley. So areas like Live Oak, White Springs, Lake City, and again, areas north of I-10 in Baker and Duval County seeing some pretty heavy rain here now. But even downtown Jacksonville starting to get in on some of the rain. We could hear it kind of raining on the roof of our studio here in downtown. So west sides of the metro and downtown, whether you live in Moncrief or around Talleyrand, downtown San Marco even, Arlington seeing some rain. So this is all kind of moving from the southwest to the northeast. So if you live north of the Trout River, perhaps closer to Ocean Way or up by the airport, you're going to see some rain here very, very shortly, whether this shower moves into you from the south or you just get it coming in from the west here. Now, really only locations that are staying a little bit drier here, at least for the time being. The south side out towards Jacksonville Beach, the whole way down through Ponte Vedra, Nocatee, and then really all of St. Johns County is also staying dry, at least for the time being. Now, this is kind of another way we look at the strength or intensity of some of these storms, of what we call storm core. So really you need those dark green, even yellow colors to start popping up to show that these storms are really going to be packing a punch. Thankfully, here this evening, not experiencing that. We still have those light greens and blues, so that just kind of shows the strength of the updraft really isn't all that terribly bad. So winds out of these likely going to be anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles per hour at the most. So no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings out there, at least for the time being here tonight. And most of these storms are just to the north of the boundary that we kind of have here across the First Coast. So if I go back just a couple and kind of give you a wider view as to what we're looking at, you can kind of almost see Lake City down through Green Cove and then St. Augustine. That's kind of where the front is currently set up. That's kind of stalling over us. So areas to the north of there are seeing the heaviest rainfall. Areas south aren't seeing a ton of action right now, but that is going to be an area we kind of hone in on here as we head throughout the remainder of this evening. So again, rain moving into portions of the west side and northern part of Duval County, drier for the south side and through St. Johns County and really Clay County here as well. But I just wanted to show the temperatures too. Areas that saw a little bit more dry time and some sunshine earlier this afternoon, places like Keystone Heights, so the southwest corner of Clay County, Union and Bradford, Putnam, areas like Palaca and over towards Gainesville, they saw temperatures into the mid to upper 70s. So things are a little bit more, not just warm, but unstable. There's a little extra instability down there to the southwest portion of the First Coast. So as I said, that's going to be an area we really hone in on for further thunderstorm development, not only here over the next several hours, but particularly overnight and into early tomorrow morning. And you can kind of see where these waves or trains of showers and storms are headed. So they're all coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico. And this, again, will be headed towards Alachua County here, likely within about the next 2 to 3 hours moving onshore. So we're going to watch not only for heavier downpours in those locations, but also potential, severe weather risk, whether that's with regards to some gusty winds. Still could see 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts. And there also is a little bit of some extra rotation in the air, or wind shear. So because of that, there is a slightly higher tornado risk down for folks kind of in that triangle between Palatka, Keystone Heights, and Gainesville here this evening. Another part of this whole story, besides the severe weather, is just how much rain a lot of us have already seen and are continuing to see. Two of the big hitters, really Charlton and Camden County, and then further out to the west, pretty much straight out I-10, Lake City and Columbia County, already well over an inch, pushing closer to about 1.5 inches. Folkston, over 2 inches here now. So these are radar estimated rainfall totals, so they're not going to be exact, but it gives you a pretty good idea of where the heaviest rain is going to be and where some of the trouble spots are going to end up occurring, because we have more rain piling up on top of that here. So from Kingsland up to Woodbine and then over into Charlton County, Folkston, and even the north sides of Hilliard have now seen anywhere from about 1.5 inches to over 2 inches of rain. And as I mentioned, starting to see a very similar story for Lake City and the northern half of Columbia County as well. So because of that, and the more rain on the way, and additionally anywhere from 1 to 2, if not even 3 inches in a few locations, flood watch remains in effect tonight, continuing into tomorrow. Flooding, especially in low-lying areas and poor drainage areas, will continue to be a main concern for a lot of folks out there, ponding on the roadways as well. So we're going to have to watch for that flooding risk to gradually increase here during the overnight hours, and especially for your morning commute Monday morning tomorrow. The other tidbit there was there also is a flood warning in effect for a portion of the St. Mary's River. There you can see it in between Nassau, Charlton, and Baker County. So if you live out near Sanderson and near the St. Mary's River, be mindful. Some minor flooding could occur along there, especially throughout the day tomorrow. So peak levels aren't going to be reached here tonight, but minor flooding will be a concern for there throughout Monday. So keep that in mind if you do live in and around the St. Mary's River. This is kind of going back to what I had talked about previously with the best chance or best area to potentially see some more severe weather during the overnight and especially into tomorrow morning. So the main low pressure system on the western edge of this stalling warm front, that's well off to our west right now. That will move on shore kind of between Tallahassee and Valdosta tomorrow morning. The cold front that is accompanying it is going to be draped across or from pretty much Valdosta southward. Pushing ahead of that front is going to be very warm, moist, unstable air. So those green colors are kind of showing the extra energy available to give even more lift to some updrafts, letting them be a little bit stronger. So not only could you see some stronger storms with regards to the winds, how strong the winds are and how heavy the rain could be, but this is also kind of showing the rotation within the air. So not just the wind speed itself, but also do those updrafts have a little bit of rotation? That could increase just your wind gusts in some of the downdrafts, but could also increase the isolated tornado risk as well. So kind of moving into the area that I mentioned, Putnam County, even southern St. John's, Flagler County, by dawn tomorrow morning, and then continuing up until about 9 a.m. until the worst of the storms begin to move offshore. So all I'm really trying to say with that is if you live south of I-10 tonight and especially tomorrow morning, be mindful the rain is, yes, going to continue, but you also have a chance for even, some severe weather there for the morning commute. And you do not want to get, caught out in a big, strong storm, and certainly not in a tornadic storm. Not that we're expecting that, but it is still a possibility. So this is just another quick look at radar. Columbia County, Baker County, southern half of Charlton, and now western Nassau and Duval seeing the heaviest rain here. Another thing I'll kind of just mention, there was a lot of lightning in these storms as they were out towards kind of the I-75 and I-10 intersection. They have started to weaken at least a little bit for the most part as they've moved further and further eastward and away from that warm frontal boundary. So, of course, there is still some lightning, but overall, we're not too concerned, at least, about a severe weather risk with the storms that are currently on the radar for the time being. But we'll kind of break it down hour by hour here for the rest of the night to show you where we could see some of those storms, because I think models are trying to do a pretty significant or a pretty good job of trying to depict where some of those are going to be. So here's 9:30 tonight. This is all from the same rain and storms that are making their way across the First Coast right now. We'll kind of just continue to see scattered to widespread showers and storms throughout the rest of the evening hours and during the overnight period. And then as you head towards tomorrow morning. So I know we've got a lot of early morning risers out there. You're either taking the kiddos to school or you're heading out to work early. This is where we're going to be talking about maybe seeing a few of those stronger storms. Isolated supercells are certainly a possibility. So look down towards Gainesville and Keystone Heights. Another one kind of trying to show there on the west sides of the metro here. If they remain isolated and there's not a whole bunch of storms around them, that kind of frees up a lot of extra unused energy surrounding the storm. So I'll often kind of describe storms, and especially strong to severe storms, almost like parasites. They go to wherever the most energy is, and they pretty much try and just absorb it all and suck it all up. So if they're more discrete cells and isolated cells, that will allow them to become stronger and potentially raise the severe weather risk tomorrow morning. If it's a little bit more of just a widespread cluster of downpours and storms, very similarly to what we're seeing tonight, then I do expect the severe weather risk to be lower. Still could see some gusty winds, but the tornado risk would be substantially reduced and diminished if that was the case. So either way, just be mindful, 6, 7, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, still going to be raining, still will see some isolated storms and rumbles of thunder out there. And then I would say the worst of it's over by 9 a.m., some lingering showers still out there by 10:30 to 11. And then after that, pretty much everything pushes offshore, and we will see some clearing skies, at least for a little while, late morning and into the early afternoon. On the back side of this system, so that northwest side, I think there will still be a little bit of some instability left, that we still could see at least maybe one isolated thunderstorm or at least some light showers coming in on the backside, primarily across southeast Georgia. So I think if you live south of I-10 and really across most of northeast Florida, you'll be all right. But if you live in southeast Georgia, tomorrow afternoon, let's say 3 to 6 p.m., there will be a chance for at least a little bit more rain, as you notice there. After that, then everything clears on out. But as I've kind of noted, we've already seen well over an inch in some locations. Many spots could still pick up 1 to 2, potentially closing in on 3 inches, depending on where some of those heavier downpours and stronger thunderstorms do set up. So the ground is going to be very wet, very saturated, not only tonight, but into tomorrow as well. And as you've seen on the bottom of your screen here throughout this stream, it is a weather impact alert today that will continue overnight tonight and up until 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, until the vast majority of the storms and rainfall finally push offshore. So maybe just try to give yourself a little bit of some extra time out there as you're waking up and heading out the door tomorrow morning, because I expect the roadways to be moving a little bit slower. I know we had several different crashes out across the First Coast today, primarily due to the rainfall and the weather, and things being a little bit slicker. So, I hope everyone stays safe, but I do certainly anticipate there being some slower roads and potentially some crashes out there tomorrow morning. So try and take it slow and be cautious out there on the roads tomorrow. Now, other piece of the story after the rain exits, it's pretty much all going to be pushed out by the very strong winds on the backside of this system. So almost due west winds will kind of kick in by about mid-morning and then just kind of crank up as the day wears on. So sustained winds, expect them to be anywhere from about 15 to 25 miles per hour, whereas wind gusts could be closer to 30, 35. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a 40 mile per hour gust as well. Not from a thunderstorm, but just kind of the winds being compressed in behind this whole system. So yes, it will be a drier afternoon tomorrow. Highs will be in the low 70s, but also quite a windy day as well. So if you haven't already tied down some of your loose items and property outside to protect them from any severe weather tonight and tomorrow morning, you certainly will want to, as those gusty winds blow on in tomorrow afternoon as well. So that's kind of your Monday. After that, rest of the forecast looks pretty quiet. High pressure moves in from the west, not only for Tuesday, but throughout Wednesday as well. So that means dry skies, plenty of sunshine. We'll start the mornings off on the cooler side, warmer afternoons for both, again, Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs on Tuesday will be in the mid-70s, upper 70s then by your Wednesday, and even warmer yet by the time we get to Friday and the weekend. So we continue to climb that temperature ladder as we head through the rest of the week. Rain chances aren't zero on Thursday and Friday, primarily due to a very weak disturbance kind of dropping out of the northwest out kind of towards let's say Birmingham. I don't really expect there to be any rain, but maybe out towards the Swanee and the Okefenokee could see maybe just a few stray showers late Thursday night and into early Friday morning. But overall, I mean, after tomorrow morning, next 5 to 6 days look very dry. It won't really be until next Sunday that we could see our next front and storm system not only bring some rain, but potentially some strong to severe storms. But that's still about a week away. So we're not all too concerned about that just yet, but just, be aware, be mindful that if you have weekend plans already for next Sunday, we could be watching for another storm system, a little bit of a different setup than this, but that could be on the way next week. So again, continuing to see some pretty heavy rain moving through Columbia County, Baker County, southern Ware and Charlton, Nassau, Duval, really northwest side of Duval, seeing some pretty significant not only rainfall rates, but also some lightning. So certainly some stronger storms up towards Callahan and the Hilliard area. Probably seeing the worst of it here right now. So if you're just now tuning in, whether you're on FCN Plus or YouTube or Facebook, feel free to ask some questions away. I see we just have a couple comments, just kind of thanking us for the coverage. Appreciate you guys tuning in here. Hopefully you've stayed dry all day here today. And tonight, I know a lot of people got to take their dogs out for walks and stuff like that. And I know I don't enjoy doing it when it's raining and storming. So I'll be thinking about all you dog walkers out there, taking your dog out one last time before you head to bed tonight. One maybe last thing I'll add here. I'm sure a lot of you already do, but if you don't have the First Coast News app downloaded onto your phone, I certainly urge you to do that, especially if we do have any severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings issued during the overnight period and into tomorrow morning. You want to make sure you have a way to receive those and get notified just in case if something happens. Now, I will also add, this is just a marginal risk for severe weather. So we certainly don't expect a severe weather outbreak. This morning's 2 severe thunderstorm warnings were only warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, which is just above the criteria for severe weather. So certainly, a 60-mile-per-hour wind is still, quite strong and could, certainly do some damage, but we are not expecting widespread damage or anything like that, if any at all. So I really do think most wind gusts are going to be between about that 40 to 60-mile-per-hour range, unless if we do happen to see, an isolated tornado try and spin up somewhere down towards Gainesville or Keystone Heights or northern Putnam County or southern Clay County. That, again, is kind of the area we're honing in on because still, they're really not seeing all that much rainfall down across that southwestern part of the First Coast. So if you live in Clay County, Putnam County, and you're like, oh, we saw our storms this morning, we're looking good. Everything's looking great here tonight. No, you're not done with the rain and storms just yet. You still have not only more on the way, but you could potentially see some of the stronger storms left here in this system, especially early tomorrow morning and for the morning commute. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to just comment in. I know we've only got a few folks here on Facebook, but I do just want to give you guys a quick second. If you have any questions about tonight, tomorrow morning, where the worst of the weather could be, the timing of it, anything like that, feel free to comment or question it. And I will do my best to try and answer any questions, but I don't see any coming in. So, again, strongest storms kind of starting to move through Nassau and Duval County, really north of I-10. So very, very heavy rain. Flooding is primarily going to be the main concern for the vast majority of us. So if you live in an area that you know floods pretty easily, not due to the tides, but specifically when it rains a lot and you get heavy rain, be mindful. You probably have at least another 1 to, if not 2 to even 3 inches of rain on the way here over about the next 12 hours. So, just be mindful that flooding still could be a big concern for those low-lying areas and the poor drainage locations as well. So I see Kelvin asking about Orange Park. So Orange Park staying fairly dry, at least for the time being. This rain will start to move in toward Orange Park, I'd say within about the next 30 to 45 minutes. Kind of the direction of the storms themselves are moving southwest to northeast, whereas the whole kind of wave of moisture is moving from west to east. So the storms themselves are kind of moving in a separate direction from the entire line of moisture and rain. So it'll take a little bit until it gets there. I would say Orange Park, with regards to a severe weather risk, would probably be on the lower end. I think it'll be a little bit further south of there. As I said, kind of down through the southern part of Clay County, Union and Bradford, Alachua, Putnam, southern St. John's, and Flagler have the best chance for severe weather. So you'll certainly see some more rain and storms by tomorrow morning for the morning commute, Kelvin, but severe weather risk seems a little bit lower, although I think you'll probably see at least or hear some rumbles of thunder within about the next 30 to 60 minutes or so. Crystal Springs area on the west side, kind of a similar story with regards to Orange Park. Heavy rain getting ready to move in here very, very shortly. Let me see if I can take this back and zoom it in. This might take me a second here. I also see someone, Glenda, asking about Middleburg. Middleburg will be an area we will watch for not only strong storms tonight, but especially into tomorrow morning as well, depending on where some of those stronger thunderstorms try to set up as they move out of the Gulf. So you can kind of just see them almost due west from Gainesville. They're getting ready to move on shore, and each of those will have the potential to move into an environment that's a little bit more conducive to some stronger updrafts and some rotation within the storm. So just kind of on the trajectory from Gainesville to the northeast, you just happen to sort of head towards the Middleburg area. So that is going to be, just a spot we will watch for. I'm going to take it a little bit closer to the metro. There we go. So let's see where else. It looks like about it. So yeah, you can see it right there, north of I-10. So from Baldwin up through Callahan, Hilliard, some very, very heavy rainfall. I would imagine rainfall rate somewhere between 1 to 1.5 inches per hour, which is fairly substantial. But it's a pretty steep drop-off. You live on the south side, you're like, what are you talking about? There's nothing going on down here. So really, downtown Jax is kind of the cutoff. If you live north of MLK, you're seeing a whole bunch of rain and storms right now. If you live south of there, right now you're probably sitting outside having, a glass of something nice, just kind of chilling here this evening, watching it rumble and thunder and lightning just off to the north. So, let's see. Jack's radar is not out. That was out, I believe it was maybe Thursday or Friday that the Jacksonville radar was out, but that has been back up and running, and that's what we're running on here right now, is the radar site up by the International Airport here in Jax. So, no concerns with that. Let's see. Anyone else got any more questions? We've got a few more coming in here now. And of course, if you're someone who almost always watches our streams, whether on Facebook or whatnot, always feel free to ask your questions away. We try to be conscientious of you guys and try to stay tuned in to what you guys are asking and what you specifically want to know. We'll try to answer them to the best of our ability here. So I don't see anything else. So try and stay dry out there. As I mentioned during our earlier afternoon stream, we'll continue to have live coverage on FCN Plus and especially on air here later tonight at 11 p.m. So I urge you to tune in for that. But if not, if there are any severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings, we will certainly either be on here or in our other studio on air, giving you the latest details to keep you safe. But until any of that happens, which hopefully it doesn't, stay safe out there, stay dry, and as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in here tonight. I'm meteorologist Ross Mumal. Take care and enjoy the rest of your Sunday night.